So I hate nonchalance, and here is why. I think that, so by the definition of nonchalance, nonchalance is a quality given to anyone who tries to put on a front that they don't care or that they're calm, cool, and collected, they don't feel emotion. And I feel like that is very disingenuous and actively parasitic to how our sort of society works. Our society works only based on people sort of showing who they are and expressing who they are. And when people close that off from each other, that severely sort of hampers social interaction. And I really want to talk about this, not in like a general sort of point of view, so not talking about nonchalance as a personality trait in general, but nonchalance specifically in fashion. And I'll preface this by saying that I think that there's a little bit of hope in the sense that I think that we're moving into an era of chalance again. I think people are really tired of the ghosting and of the lack of sort of caring and showing of care. And I think we're going to move into an era of people really caring again, trying hard again, and really putting their full self out there and not being afraid of doing so. But till that era comes, here's a video that maybe shed some important insight onto the idea of nonchalance. The first thing I always found weird was there are a lot of people who are into fashion, right? And they'll wear the same uniform every day, and there's nothing wrong with the uniform. I also have a uniform, but they'll wear the same uniform of like white shirt, blue jeans every day, right? And it'll be I live in a college campus, and everybody on that college campus that is within a specific group, like let's say a sorority, will be wearing the same exact thing. And so it's like you're actually putting a lot of effort into thinking about dressing in a specific way, and you want to present well, right? Um, but for some reason, after all of this research and all of this time put into thinking about fashion, the best you can come up with is white shirt and blue jeans, which is just so confusing to me. I think that like people are so interesting and have so many facets to themselves and so much to express and so much to show, and yet we sort of constrain ourselves into the sort of box of white shirt, blue jeans. And I think that that is inherently a product of nonchalance. We think that we have to come off as put together, but also as not trying too hard, but because it would be so bad to try hard and to actually try and express the sort of weirder or more niche forms of ourselves, right? And that's where I get ultimately to the fact that clothing is about expression, fundamentally, right? Now, it might be tainted by capitalism, but there are still ways in which your clothing can be used to express certain emotions that you carry during a certain period of time or reflect a general ethos that exists within your life. Like, let's say you're a skater, you're going to wear a lot of Stussy or a lot of streetwear brands, right? Let's say you generally tend towards avant-garde music. You might wear a lot of Yoji or a lot of CCP, right? So I think that like the clothing that you wear is definitely indicative of what kind of person you are. And I don't think everybody's a white shirt, blue jeans type of person. So why are we all wearing the same thing? And the only conclusion that I've been able to come to is that it's out of fear. So I think that people in general are very fearful of sticking out and of dressing out of the norm. And so they feel like they're really into fashion and they like all these things, but they somehow need to do these things in a very respectable way, in a way that other people will like them for. I think that there's so much benefit in provoking people. I think that when you wear things that are different and actually attract people's attention, not because you're an attention whore, but just because you want to express that deepest part of yourself, I think that that whole process of expressing who you are is not easy and actually draws a lot of negative attention. For example, when you first interact with someone and you tell them something that is maybe unsavory about yourself, as opposed to putting on a facade, I think that people can, a lot of people, most people, can be taken aback. But I think that life is too short to mess with those people. It's about sort of figuring out what sort of people really resonate with your view on things and your sort of perspective. And I think that that's why dressing and presenting in a way that is more authentically yourself and really more of an expression of yourself is so important. Now, I think that there's like a small caveat here for people who don't care about fashion or who don't care about how they look like. But I think that most people do care and do want to look good, but they're too scared to express themselves because no one else is doing so. And so that's why I think that we need to do away with nonchalance, actually really lean in. And if we really care about how we present and how we look like, we should actually be taking steps forward to presenting in a way that is very authentically ourselves.